Well, I don't know if my job's going to change. What if someone got sick or I lost my job or I had to move to Ohio? You could rent that thing out. Sort of Agatha Bazzi in here with Alliance Group, our good friends over there. When you hear 300,000, what can you get out there for 300,000? I mean, years ago it was tough to find a good home for $300,000, but with prices having dropped, with that kind of payment, can you still find some good stuff?
Absolutely. There's several areas in San Diego that you can get some amazing house. 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
North Park?
No.
A little bit tougher?
A little tougher.
Let's talk about North Park, though. I like North Park.
Absolutely. So do I.
I love North Park. North Park is like a hidden gem of San Diego that people don't know about.
Absolutely.
At least I didn't know about it for that long, but I'm from Missouri. I get lost.
Yeah.
But it's great. I absolutely love North Park. So what do you look at for prices out there in that area?
Well, for $300,000, you can get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, less than 1,000 square feet, around $850 for
So
around $300,000.
you can get out there at that price range.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is a real life story. This guy was renting last night.
Right.
Text that over. You create that free spreadsheet. And let me tell you, it's very well detailed. It's got graphs. It compares these numbers, tax advantages. I mean, you spell it all out for him.
Right.
I want to again encourage you, if you're just joining us, if you text over what you're paying in rent, James is going to create this analytical point of view of what the cost of homeownership versus renting is. And right now, with this low interest rate environment, it's just astonishing. Text it to 846-9333. That's what you pay in rent. 619-846-9333. Text what you pay in rent. Back to you, Agatha. So North Park, we just did 300,000. What is your typical price range, and how's inventory out there? Everybody's fighting inventory right now and having a hard time getting their offers accepted. So
Absolutely. North Park is one of the most up-and-coming neighborhoods in San Diego County. Forbes magazine about 6 months ago prompted it as one of the most up-and-coming urban cities in all
That's
of the
great.
nation. Absolutely.
I agree. I really do. You know what? I went there the other day with a friend of ours, Rebecca Austin, and she took me to this, like, I don't know what this food was. It was rabbit food. It was good, though.
Vegetarian?
It was veggie.
Yes, for all of our health nuts out there, there are a lot of really great
It
restaurants.
was actually really good. It was like a 5-course veggie lunch.
That's awesome.
I felt great. Go ahead. Sorry.
No
That's what we call
problems.
a rabbit trail. We're back, though. So North Park.
North Park, like I said, is one of the most up-and-coming areas. I feel like it's an extension of downtown happening right now. The most cafes, restaurant, bars happening per block than anywhere else, I think, in San Diego. And I'm a native, so I actually just bought my first investment property there, and I'm really excited.
So you practice what you preach. You're not just telling people to buy because it's good for you. You're telling them that you actually just went out there and bought an investment property.
Absolutely. And I got a smoke and deal, and I'm excited to gain, looking forward to the equity that's happening as we speak. Going back to your question about the average price points for condos are around 250 to 300,000. In regards to detached homes, it's about 450,000 is a median price range. If you go in just to the neighboring area of Hillcrest, the average price range is about 570,000. And I really believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that North Park will be an extension of Hillcrest in the next 5 to 10 years.
I really agree with you. I think it's a unique little area of San Diego. You have downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I really like downtown, the Gaslamp District. It's very residential, but you have these absurd HOAs, and it's also downtown. So I think people want to get out of downtown. North Park keeps you close, but you still get the the homey feel. And I think you give up a $600 HOA, monthly HOA, you can gain about $100,000 or so. Is that about right, James?
That's about right now.
So I mean, it's $600 for an HOA in a high-rise condo. You burn that, you can buy almost up to $100,000, if not more,
Right.
in a single-family residence. A lot more comfortable.
Absolutely. It's more affordable for first-time home buyers or investors that are coming in there wanting to, touch this market. So, and also in all those areas, in Golden Hills, South Park, it's all booming. It's my extension of downtown. That's where me and my friends go out to dinners and to go out drinking and things like
Now,
that. So.
let me ask you this. So how do you get your offers accepted? Now, I imagine that when you did your own investment property, there's probably some inter-agent language that helps. When you have a buyer, someone reaches out, let's say James just did this rent versus own for one of our listeners last night. They want to connect with you, and they realize now they can buy in North Park. What do we do? How do we combat the low inventory?
You need an aggressive, knowledgeable agent who is going to go outside of the box to help find your inventory and help you get a really good deal. And that's exactly what I'm doing for all of my sellers and also my buyers. I'm creating inventory as we speak. I'm one of the few agents that actually prospect for business. I go door knocking. I educate homeowners.
That's rolling
and
up your
let them
sleeves and
know.
getting old school in this market.
Absolutely.
I love that.
You got to keep it old school.
Carmondy, you brought in another spreadsheet as well. Now, I know what this one is. Is this another listener from last night?
This is a little bit higher price point, same rent, but I wanted to show a higher example, and this probably speaks more to the North Park price point.
There was a listener last night though that texted over they paid $2,700 a month in rent. That should
up
be able
in
to buy
Carlsbad.
something really nice.
Yeah, I didn't bring that information
Let
with
me know. I'll help him out.
Now, I imagine that's probably, if we're looking at some of the numbers, that's probably a $500,000-$600,000 house.
Exactly.
If you equated the payment of a mortgage to rent. Again, I'm pulling some numbers out of the air here.
You're right, though, but it's in that $500,000 to $600,000 range, and depending upon down payment, and then you have your property tax you're writing off, as well as your interest, and then also, the principal and the balance that you're paying down to build equity in the home.
You can expect a beautiful little Craftsman, maybe 2-3 bedroom, around 1,200 square foot for that price range in
Really?
North Park right now.
Now, how would you compare North Park to Golden Hill to Bankers Hill, some of these different areas you named? Now, originally you said that North Park compared to Hillcrest, way out of balance. Well, I mean, Hillcrest might be worth what it's worth, but North Park is obviously significantly less expensive. How would you compare that to some of those other markets?
Absolutely. North Park, I think, is a little bit more up and coming right now, just advanced growth with bars and restaurants and what have you. South Park, I think, is also extremely up and coming. It's a little bit more of a hidden gem nestled in between North Park and Golden Hill. Golden Hill is up and coming as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're all good areas, but they're right off of downtown. And I think the advice I want to give is burn the HOA and
absolutely, and have the benefit of it.
And gain that extra $150,000 on a purchase price.
Right. I mean, appreciation kind of works in rings, like, how we look at when there's an earthquake, it kind of goes in a circular ring around. And as you expand outside of downtown, you have your Hillcrest, and then you move into North Park, South Park, Golden Hill. So it's like North Park's in the midst of that upswing right now, and it's going to continue to do that for a little while.
All those
South Park's right
cool.
behind it, followed by, I think, Golden Hills. And especially as we talk about developing downtown even more, it's a great opportunity for folks.
And if you're looking for cultural diversity, that's exactly where it is for anybody, for all ages.
Yeah, I mean, you can have an urban lifestyle with affordable housing, affordable payments.
No, it's a good area.
Great.
Centrally
That's where you
located.
bought your investment property?
Yes.
So you get to be neighbors with Agatha? Agatha has a face for TV, not radio. So
what are we doing here?
You get to be
Thank you,
next door
Craig.
neighbors with her. Sounds like a plan for me. But James, I want to continue to get people that to see this analysis of the rent versus own. Again, if you text what you're paying in rent, James will create this for you at 619-846-9333, 619-846-9333. James, staying on you. Interest rates have climbed.
Yes.
Okay. We get these questions at craigsewing.com. People are always asking me about where interest rates going to go. I have my opinion on it, but you're in the stuff in the trenches every single day. What's happened over the last month or so, and what would you say your longer term outlook are?
In the last month, interest rates have climbed about 1%, depending upon the program. That being said, we've got a little bit of a trend reversal just this week and towards the end of last week, and we're really starting to test a ceiling of resistance right now. And to put this in terms and amounts. Basically, loan amounts of $417 and less. We touched on $4.875 beginning last week, and we've come back to now we're in the 4.5 mid-4s range.
That almost happened overnight, huh?
Yeah, and the thing is though that we locked 3 people yesterday. I'm locking 2 people as soon as I get back to the office today because we got
home buyers or refinance.
Buyers.
Buyers, good.
We got Big Ben Bernanke speaking tomorrow.
Facebook.
And yes, and he was the catalyst for that 1% move a month ago. So I'm urging folks, if anyone's in escrow right now, any listeners out there listening, if you're in escrow and you haven't locked, do it. There's no sense in being greedy because if you gain an eighth to a quarter, so what? Because we could see a swing tomorrow by the end of the week like we had a few weeks ago, and it can get really ugly fast.
I think the bigger message here is if you've even thought about buying a home over the last year or so, what you're finding out is that quantitative easing 3 is exiting the marketplace. You have basically a tug of war between stocks and bonds. And I don't think people realize how much that mortgage rates are influenced by what's actually happening in the marketplace, what Ben Bernanke says. Tomorrow we have housing numbers coming out. Thursday we have jobless claims. All of these things actually influence the movement of bonds, and indirectly you have bond prices and their rates moving inversely of one another. And that's why you've seen the spike in rates. If you've even thought about buying, the problem with waiting, and I'm hearing about a lot of sellers that are waiting to sell because they want to get more appreciation out of their property. Agatha, as far as selling, do you think it makes sense to wait for that appreciation? To me, it seems like if we mix James into the equation, if you wait, you might get a little more appreciation out of your home, but then you lose the opportunity for that rate in the lower 4s. You might be looking at a 5%. So how are you advising your sellers right now?
Sell now.
Yeah?
James and I were talking about it today.
In the green room?
In the green room, yes.
Okay.
We were saying that for the first time in months, we've seen price reductions on listings. Properties that used to have 20 offers possibly are now having around 5 offers. It's because buyers...
Slow down a bit.
Absolutely. So you got to price your home to sell. Overpricing is going to only hurt you in the long run. And move now, because as the summer continues, inventory is going to be released and interest rates are going up. You're going to have less buyers that are going to be interested in your home. Yeah,
I really want to make sure we get the takeaway out of that. If you waited to get a little bit more equity out of your home and then you sold your property, but then you went and bought the new home at a higher interest rate, it's going to lower or it's going to increase, your cost of living, your mortgage payment. James, you have a total cost analysis. Is that right?
Yeah, what I put together is just it's kind of a cost of waiting.
By the way, if you have any questions on anything that we're speaking of today, I got the best in the business in here. Make sure you reach out to me. Go to Craig Sewing, spelled like a sewing machine. CraigSewing.com is a contact form. You can email me through the website. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, so I put together, what's it look like if you buy now versus if you wait? And, I put this together last week, so rates are slightly higher than where they are today. But I put together an example of, buying a $550,000 home and putting 20% down. Rates at the time were 5.125. Today, they're probably more around 4.875 on these higher balance numbers. Total payment just over $3,000 with 20% down. Now, if you wait and interest rates are to move up another percent, I'm not saying they are, I'm not saying they aren't, but we've already seen a 1% move in the last month. They will certainly be higher by the end of the year and this time next year.
Well, they have to at some point.
Yes.
The Federal Reserve is like dealing crack to a crack addict right now.
Exactly. You take it away, the addict gets sick.
It's true.
Yeah.
We have a country that is addicted to stimulus. The moment that Ben Bernanke starts to tell the truth about removing what you don't want in an economy, which is stimulus, the market freaks out and drops 300 points.
Yep.
And of course, that affects mortgage rates. But at some point in time, printing money, short-term interest rates at 0.25%, it becomes inflationary. That devalues our dollar. That's not good for anyone. That would ultimately send mortgage rates up, bonds offering a fixed rate of return, nothing good there. So you're going to see mortgage rates climb. It's kind of inevitable. And it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be a great time to buy then as well. I think real estate's a great long-term investment. But you haven't missed the boat, but the ship is the motor's running.
The motor's running and the ropes are getting thrown.
There you go.
But to finish the example, I grew up commercial fishing.
Crabfish. Is that what it was?
Can I have some?
Yeah, commercial fishing back in Cape Cod. A lot of fun, made a lot of money, learned a lot about hard work. But just to finish this example, if someone's looking at a $550,000 home, they wait and say prices go up over time 10%, right? So your $550,000 home becomes $605,000, right? You're still putting that same 20% down, and your rate goes from 5% to 6%. Your payment just went up $600 a month, from $3,060 to $3,670 a month. So that's huge, and that's really important for folks to get. And if you're listening out there,
Absolutely.
If you're even contemplating this in the next 12 months, buying or selling, raise your hand and reach out to Craig. Just look at it.
You got to look at the numbers.
Get a plan in place.
Yeah, it's real simple. Look at the numbers. If you want to email me directly, Craig@CraigSewing.com. I'm limited on time here, so in parting here, I want to get each of your just lasting words of wisdom. Let's start with you, James. What do people need to know?
Really, what people need to know is if you're in escrow right now, lock today. Bernanke speaking tomorrow, and that's going to be a market mover.
Okay, so if you're in process, you're refinancing, you're buying home, it'd probably be good to talk to your mortgage guy. Be like, hey, lock me in.
Lock it in.
Or at least get some information from him.
And if you're renting right now, and even if it's small, say you're paying $1,000 in rent or what have you, raise your hand and get some information. We're here as a resource, and we have all sorts of information we can give you, so we can put together a roadmap to homeownership, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. We want to be that resource and that advocate for you.
Yeah, that's good advice. If you want to connect with James, just email me, craig@craigsewing.com. Agatha, your words of wisdom in parting?
Knowledge is key. You need to have a professional real estate agent such as myself that's going to educate you and let you know exactly what it's going to take to help you get into a good property. And in addition, regards to selling, to be able to have a professional that can market your home and expose it and help you net more than what you could most likely net for yourself.
That's great advice. Agatha Bazzi with Alliance Group. Our team over there, we see him on the show all the time. Glenn Henderson, Shanna Keeley are going to be here next week. James Carmondy.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You did outstanding. First-time guest. We'll have to make her a repeat offender at some point in time. James, it's always good having you in here.
Love being here. Quick shout-out to my Red Sox best record in baseball. Got to get it out there.
Cut him
Gotta
out.
like that. Nope.
Get rid of him.
Red
Love
Sox
you, San
off,
Diego.
Pull the plug. Back in a minute.
Sewing.